Hello and welcome to another episode of the To Baldly Go podcast, and thank you for joining me on my mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to baldly go where so many have gone before. My name is Aaron, and I am watching Star Trek for the first time, then discussing with my wife Abby and our friend Nate. This week, we are joined again by my old friend Gregg as we discuss The Naked Now, Code of Honor, and The Last Outpost. Now, set a course, warp 3, engage. We can leave a lot of the talking to Greg, because if he said last week was a 9 and that they're all going to be uphill from there, he's got a hell of a
Yeah, you
lot
got a
of
lot of
explaining to do.
explaining to do, sir.
I laughed in
Oh,
my head when he said
Lucy.
that, knowing what was coming.
They are all
So
nice and
so
tense.
yeah, let's just jump right into the next gen episode, The Naked Now. Um I feel like we could have a similar conversation to many of the season 3 episodes of the original series. I feel like we've seen this before. Um, yeah, what are some of your thoughts on these or on this episode or ratings even?
Does someone want to give the quick synopsis
Yeah,
again?
we should start there.
Sure.
It'd be really funny, and you can edit this out. Do the naked time one instead, and then halfway through realize I did the wrong episode, and then do the correct one. Just
Like I
drawing
said,
that.
All
I'm
right.
not
So
I'm not good at
in
reading, so read it off.
In The Naked Now, the crew of the Enterprise is infected with a virus that causes them to behave as though they were intoxicated. And yes, we've seen this episode before. In an episode that we all thought very highly of.
You
So I
did.
wonder if we all thought as highly of this version.
What
I
was the
don't think I thought
original series episode called?
the
The
naked
Naked
time.
Time,
It was called The Naked Time in the original series too.
and this
No, it's
is The
called the
Naked
naked now
Now.
in the TNG.
And I may have misspoken if I
Yeah.
said it wrong.
You know what? I
But
can't keep them straight either. Like I would have to look to know which one is which.
yeah.
So for reference, I gave The Naked Time for the original series a 9. Aaron gave it a 9. Abby gave it a 10. Abby loved it. So
It was like the one episode I loved.
yeah, like
It's accurate.
over the moon for it.
Greg, did you have a chance to watch The Naked Time before this?
So I've been waiting patiently because so my experience with this episode was I listened to your podcast, okay, about the episode,
Yep.
and probably 2 days later I was watching this, and so one of the first notes I wrote was is this connected to the? This sounds a lot like that episode they talked about. Um, so I was kind of looking forward to hearing what you guys had to say. And Aaron encouraged me. He's like, "You got to watch that episode this week." I don't even know if you knew that I had like heard it, and I was like, "It sounds a lot like it." So that was definitely. I think tying back to talking about the pilot episode, you know, the I think a lot of the tissue of that we're not going to shake off for a little while here in terms of like them tying the original series to this new cast, almost like an anchor. And so from like a writing storytelling perspective, it's it feels a little foreign to me, having gone on the whole journey and coming back to this. It's that effect of like the characters not being fully realized is still fully happening here, and will for a little while. And so it's like, not only are we already seeing that just on like a character level, but now they're doing a beat for beat, essentially remake of an episode they've already done. Now, these days, the industry is living off of that formula, right? Like everything's getting remade beat for beat. It's like totally shameless, and it happens all the time now. So I don't really hold the Next Generation's feet to the fire on this, because there were 30 some odd years separating the two episodes. So I think it's more of an homage than a ripoff, but it's definitely noticeable because, like, literally just hearing you guys talk about it, I was able to pick up the beats from, while I was watching. I was like, oh, wow, yeah, this is like, they literally just talked about this.
Yeah, Wesley was basically Riley from The Naked Time, almost exactly.
I mean, Data
Maybe
is Spock.
not the singing. Data was Spock. Well, kind of.
There were differences, right? It was
there were.
It was not a shot for shot remake. The story was very much the same. But at least I think I would have had more of a problem with this episode if they hadn't actually tied it back to the original one. Went, oh, this is, at first they think the same thing, and then they find out it's kind of the same but different enough, because it would be too easy for it to be the same thing, and it just. So I think I give it a little bit more credit because of that. And I don't know, if you think about, like, if this were real, like if this happened, would some of the same things kind of happen? Like, would people react in generally the same way?
Well, and I really liked how they tied it back to that story. And Greg, I think you make a great point that early on, I would imagine they are trying to basically show that they deserve to be there in this universe of Star Trek that has a massive following at this point. And they want to say, hey, we are connected to that. We're part of this thing, not just something ripping off the name and doing that. So I think that there was that effort. And I did like that tie back to a specific episode from the original series. And I thought they just did a really good job of giving it wasn't about that episode, but there was just that enough connection to it. But then at the same time, when you think about it, okay, if something happened that was a one-off scenario on one ship 80 years ago, is every crew in the Navy going to know about it? So it might make sense that, oh yeah, I thought I heard about this one time. I mean, 80 years is a long time to remember a one-off event.
Yeah, but I think he explained that well.
Yeah, I'm trying to say that, like, I liked how they handled it, where they tied it back without being all about that. They were able to have some more than throwaway lines, but in a sense, kind of throwaway lines about it.
Homage versus ripoff.
Yeah.
I mean, and we talked about during the actual episode, and Greg, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but didn't we say in the original The Naked Time, part of the intrigue for those of us who had seen The Next Generation was we knew it was going to happen again. It was a theme we were going to see again. So we kind of had those memories of it that might have colored a little bit of the enjoyment of the original season episode, because we knew this one was coming as well. So they're almost, at least for me, I viewed that original series episode almost as one giant episode with Next Generation as well, which is probably why I ranked it so high, because it stood the test of time, both 60s and now 80s as far as storyline goes. I thought it was very seamless in this one, how they referenced it back. He even said it was an obscure reference, that he never would have found it had they not had data to do it. He was just like, I don't have much to give you on it, until he made that click of, what was I thinking about when I was thinking about this? Why would I even have read this? Oh, I was doing my homework about the Enterprise. That's right. And that's something completely believable. If I was starting on a new starship, I would sure as heck look back at all the history of what's gone on with there and any kind of notable things, and did everything I could to read up on the job I'm starting. So I didn't see a gap in that storyline at all. And I thought the whole, it adapted, it's a virus or whatever it is, brilliant, because that's how things work. It's been 100 years. That whatever that is going to adapt and change and be different, mutate, just like we see today.
Can I add to that?
that concept of like, oh, I remember hearing something about this and then tracing it back in your brain is something we all do, right? We can all come up with examples of where we've done that exact same thing. And so I think that's why it works so well.
And I think another way that it works, and we haven't done ratings yet, so I don't know if you want to jump in here with that, but I have one thought is I think one of the ways this episode works is, obviously I haven't seen the original, version of this story or whatever, but it's a way to watch these new characters go through a similar experience and see how they resolve it and how they respond to it. And, like sort of resetting your expectations of what the show's going to be.
Yeah.
And,
right?
Yeah. Right off the bat, this is post pilot. So this is like the first time they're really establishing this, this show. They're on a set every day. They're like, it's like really happening. And I think that shows.
So yeah, I'm interested to hear what everyone's ratings are, because I think there may be a mild amount of controversy here.
I'll start.
Yeah.
I give it a 7. I didn't think it was that bad, right? I mean, it's an interesting enough story. I like the character development. I like how they tie it back to the original series episode. It's obviously not as good, but I still thought it was a decent display of the characters and kind of how they interact with each other.
Abby?
Pass.
Not an option.
I'm not allowed to pass.
Pass is not a number between 1 and 10.
You gotta give us a number. Come on.
So it's like ordering food at a restaurant. I want to order last.
You want to see what the waters are.
What we're all getting, so she doesn't.
I don't want FOMO on what I'm ordering.
All right,
here.
All right, Greg. So this is like a 9.1.
Is his grading scale out of like 9 to 10 then? So he's just ranking 9.1 through 9.
It's either a
9.9
or a 10. Those are the only.
Oh, it's the only options. There's no like middle ground in there. It is what it is.
There's no middle ground.
Oh my god.
No half measures. There's no 9.5.
Fail in his love of Star Trek. Okay.
It's either a 9 or 10.
Oh god, I want to hear what the next one is rated.
It's either amazing or a masterpiece.
So I don't enjoy this episode as much. It's very Wesley Crusher centric, which is hard for me always. So I have to give it a 9. Because it's just not perfect. It's not absolutely perfect.
I am taking your numbers out of our averages.
No, I want my numbers.
He gets his own averages.
My numbers included. You numbers guys, you always try to do stuff like this to me, and I won't have it. I want
it's
my
called statistical deviation, and you are
Greg's
the deviant.
coming in. Greg's coming in saying, "I'm an outlier."
Fuck up averages. We gotta take you out.
My numbers are just as valid as anyone else's.
All right. Fine.
Right?
I'm gonna ask you a question.
I want them tracked. I want to know what my average is.
No numbers, but I'm gonna ask you a question.
Yeah.
Better or worse than Encounter at Farpoint?
Definitely better than that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No question.
An arrow. He's gonna give us like up or downs from the previous episode. Is this up from the last one or down? Let's just track it as up or downs where he goes on this graph.
It's down. And let me just say, I'm gonna say
trend line. Yeah, track is a trend line.
All right, we're early in the process here. I'm going to say one blanket statement, and then the rest of the time, I'm not even going to mention it. I'm just going to focus on stories and all this stuff. I'm going to say one negative thing about this series. I don't enjoy Wesley Crusher. I just do not enjoy Wesley Crusher. I can't get on board with it. I think Will Wheaton seems like a lovely guy. I've heard him in interviews and stuff. I loved him in the movie we talked about last time. Stand by, I think he's a fine actor. It's just, for me, the character, the storylines he's involved in, they're always a little tough for me. So when you have episodes that are like hanging on him, it's always a little tough for me.
What do you mean by tough? Do you mean like lame?
It's a 9. It's a 9.
I want a word that's not a number, Greg. That's not a real number.
Wesley and them are a 10 is what I'm hearing.
But is it like he's lame? Is it hard to track the storyline?
Yeah,
is it just not important to you? You just don't care? Like what is it about it that you dislike?
He's just a lame duck. Yeah, there's not a lot there for me. I think, and it's a bummer. I think it's probably a combination of, writing and performance and, a whole bunch of things. It's not any one thing. And it's kind of a bummer because I think the character is really cool, actually. And by the way, you're hearing some thunder in the background. So if I suddenly lose power and disappear, that's what's happening.
Or it's because you rated something wrong and
yeah,
the Star Trek gods have rained their.
They love me. They know I love them. It's a bummer because I like Wesley Crusher the character. I like Beverly Crusher the character in terms of like their connections to Picard and their position on the ship and like what their role on the show is. I don't know. It's just tough for me.
I have a follow-up to that question because now you got me this Wesley Crusher thing. So those who were on the original podcast, and Greg, you listened to them, do we think that they're still sticking to more of that kind of Leave It to Beaver storyline for him as he's a child? Because he seems very innocent, like very much like the, okay, Paul, I'll do it. It's my dog kind of character to him, where he doesn't seem as genuine as some of the other characters that have more valid type relationships and things. And now, Greg, I'm obviously speaking further episodes ahead and things like that in those developments.
Well,
but you can see the others act like adults versus they make him act under his age. And that might just be our generation too. Like our 15-year-olds are sassy as fuck in life nowadays versus potentially in the 80s. I don't think we were quite as sassy then because we got our asses handed to us. Well, but they still aged him down like a Leave It to Beaver kind of style in my brain too. And I can kind of see if that's what you're talking about, I can 100% see that. But was that them trying to bridge that gap and they didn't know how to do it necessarily? I don't know a lot of 80s movies with kids in it or that age or how that worked in family shows. I've never really watched any other than Star Trek.
They were mad corny. They were mad corny. I mean, that's a fact. But Aaron, I mean, do you notice this right away? Right off the bat here?
So one of the things I knew before watching any Star Trek is that Will Wheaton is in Next Gen as Wesley Crusher and is pretty reviled. A pretty hated character. That is all of the context I have. I can see how he is not the most likable character, kind of annoying, and like Abby said, seems younger. The character kind of plays younger than his age, a little bit. So he seems like an annoying kid, not a 16-year-old wonderkind genius type. But not entirely. So I at this point have almost no opinion on Wesley. I know people don't like him, but I have yet to really develop an opinion on him.
Here's my challenge with that characterization of Will Wheaton. And that is, and again, kind of getting ahead in further episodes as you start to develop that character and figure out who he is. But it is not uncommon for child geniuses to be super, super smart, but super, super socially inept.
Yeah.
Great point.
So if you think about it like that, I don't think, and Abby disagrees.
He doesn't come off as spectrum-y to me. I will say that. He comes off as juvenile. So it's usually less that type of interaction. It's more like he's friendly. He's good interacting with people. It's not that. His lines are lame. So he's not bad. He makes eye contact. He's doing all those things. Nothing to make me go, oh, he's on the spectrum. Or he's Asperger's, something like that. What you'd see like in a genius or kind of thing. I'm not saying that.
Lots and lots of people that are like literal geniuses, like PhDs, today, that when they were his age, they're not, on the spectrum or anything like that, but they had zero social skills because they didn't spend any time developing those. They spent all their time learning how to build rockets in their backyard and like not interacting with people in that way.
And so, I would almost feel like it's people who are like that, who are just like, how would we write a character of a kid? and then
they wrote
not.
themselves. Actually, to be fair, Wesley is based on Gene Roddenberry as a kid, by the way.
What
So
Wesley?
So I
Wesley's,
don't yet really have an opinion on him. I thought
Okay.
he was basically a carbon copy of Riley from the original Naked Time in this episode.
for sure.
And yeah, just I don't have much opinion on him, and trying not to. I'm a fan of Will Wheaton. I like a lot of the stuff I've seen and heard from him. But yeah, just not. I don't care for Wesley all that much, but I don't hate him either.
Wesley Crusher is like me trying to socialize for the first time after the pandemic. Just kind of like roaming into the room.
Do we fist bump? Do we do the elbow?
Just, trying to figure things
Yeah.
out.
Like, what are we doing?
Make my way into the environment.
Yeah.
They did not give him dialogue to help, that is for sure.
Abby, what's your rating on this episode?
Did you give yours?
Sure.
Liar.
No,
we just talked about this.
I initially I was undecided at first. I thought either a 6 or a 7. And I'm settling on a 6. And I don't know. I struggled with this one because I don't know how to rate it exactly. So when I just went with my gut feel, would I describe this as a good episode? I don't know. I definitely wouldn't say it's a great episode, and it was better than mediocre, so I fall on okay, which is a 6. So I had some notes, like 13 minutes into it, I paused it for whatever reason, and I felt like the story was flowing a lot smoother than the original series episode. Uh, that's just also more of a general feeling of Next Gen being a little less choppy, more refined in that regard than we saw in the original series. And I ended up doing some very unofficial, unscientific analysis here, and I looked at the original series episode, The Naked Time, and I took a transcript of it and just took everything on the page, and there was around 4,600 words in the episode in 50 minutes. And then I did the same thing for The Naked Now. So having the title, some information, random stuff, the names of speaking characters. So it's not an exact comparison, but Naked Now had a little over 4,800 words in 45 minutes. So they are getting a lot more story and a lot more just action into these episodes already at 45 minutes compared to what the original series was doing in 50, which I think is a positive. But then I technically, visually, it's an improvement over the original series because 20 years of production value is noticeable. I think where I really fall on this episode, though, is The Naked Time in the original series was their 6th episode that they filmed for the second shot. And then it was the 4th episode that they aired. So they had 5 episodes of learning their characters and doing that before they had here, let's throw them completely out of character. And I think that is what is lacking in this one. Because in this episode, this was, if we count Encounter at Farpoint as just one episode, they did that one and they aired it. They filmed this one and aired it. So this was the second episode they did, second episode they aired. And they were already doing a brand new, like, let's see these characters that we don't really know yet, and let's change them up for an episode and have it be silly and goofy. And it was. And they succeeded at that. But I feel like this would have been a better episode halfway through season 1 or late in season 1, where then they can have that homage to the original series. But yeah, I just felt that it was too early to have that and have it be so. The first half of the episode, at least, was almost felt like a carbon copy of the first half of The Naked Time. And then they had some changes to it, but still a lot of it kind of tied in. They had the differences with the tractor beam and all that, and they didn't deal with time travel and anything like that. But
I had forgotten that Naked Time was a time travel episode, by the way. Completely forgotten that until I rewatched it. Can I read a piece of trivia, jump ahead for a second, that may explain some of this? Because I didn't know this. So I pulled this off IMDb for this episode. It said that Gene Roddenberry had hoped to recycle scripts from the original series with a bigger effects budget. Fan reaction to remakes and a failure to achieve an early ratings peak forced him to scrap plans to remake episodes, at least as openly as in The Naked Now, which is a remake of The Naked Time. So this was him like, I'm going to redo this episode with fancier stuff and call it good. And everyone went,
for such a genius guy, he sure had a lot of bad ideas. Like
he had the wonderful idea that Patrick Stewart was terrible for this role and did not want him.
Like it's a testament to the importance of having really smart people around you. You know.
So I'm probably gonna piss off the listener base because I like to do this every once in a while. I don't think Gene Roddenberry is that big of a genius. At least beyond an initial vision for Star Trek. To your point, he's surrounded by smart people that can actually make it happen. He had an original idea that people ran with. And I feel the same way to some extent about George Lucas. He had a really cool idea that he pulled off in very mediocre fashion. And everyone else that's kind of picked up the ball and run with it after the fact has done a much better job than he ever could.
Yeah, I think there's something to that.
There's something to be said for visionary versus somebody who can execute, right? They're two different skill sets. I think Gene Roddenberry, George Lucas, visionaries, can't execute. The team of writers that they hire to do this stuff and actually pull it together into something that people like, those people are executors. They're good at what they do in that regard. They can take the framework of idea and turn it into something.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I have simultaneously pissed off every sci-fi nerd on the planet.
We just lost
Gene Roddenberry and Lucas in the same breath. And I'm okay with that.
So apparently, I don't remember if this was me reading some trivia or reading some reviews, but it sounds like a lot of people were initially turned off by this episode, with it being the second one after a generally good premiere. They were then afraid that this was just going to be a constant redo of the original series and hoping to see something different. So there was some consternation or hesitation about the show moving forward in viewers, I think, because they were like, okay, this is the next generation. Are you going to do something new? So I obviously know there's a lot more to come, so I don't have that concern or that fear. And I actually enjoyed the way they connected to the original series, not as much in the, hey, let's do a redo of that episode, but the way they tied it back with the events of that episode, I really did enjoy, like we've already talked about. So, Abby, what's your rating?
She still doesn't want to say.
You're on mute.
Still on mute.
Still on mute.
She is
on purpose.
No, I couldn't get my Teams pulled back up. All right. So I need to preface something just as Gregg did. I am not going to say every episode's a 9 or 10. I'm not that. But I need to note that I'm not on the same grading scale as the original series. It's all relative to this series. So what I ranked as a 7 over there is not the same as a 7 here. It means something very, very different to me. Like a 7 over there was like, I didn't want to vomit while listening, but it wasn't a 2. This is like, it's legitimately a decent episode if it's a 7. I'm going to give this one a 7.5. for a few factors. There's still choppiness, and that's 100% explained by it being second episode filmed. I haven't yet seen the characters that I really want to see in the right positions yet. For that, I found some of the weirdness, a little bit choppiness, like how someone escapes sickbay while ill, that kind of thing. It was just, there were a few spots where I was a little bit kind of like, oh, really? But redeemed in great dialogue. Beverly Crusher's flirting with the captain. We're starting this up early, and it was just funny how they did it. I loved the chief engineer throwing the isolinear chips everywhere. I mean, that was funny too. Um, it was well done, but it wasn't bad. I love the throwback, but it's not one I'm like, I want to watch that one right now again. So I enjoyed it. Just I've seen better. I know there's better.
Well said and
All
well
right.
rated.
Here.
Worth the wait.
And speaking of better, should we move on to the next episode, or do we
Well,
have
wait,
more to discuss here?
I have more I wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
There's one thing about this episode. I had a few notes. Horny Trek. Okay, that's a thing. Horny Star Trek. There's a lot of that in the series. So this is our first like.
That's not new to TNG. It has its moments in the original series too. So
sure, of course. But it's always fun when it shows up.
Yeah.
But so that was one thing. But I think the most important thing, and I'm going to try to phrase this in a way that's not gonna not be spoilery for Aaron. I'll say that the interaction between Data and Tasha Yar in this episode is in many ways the nucleus of his entire story arc. I really believe that. I believe that his relationship with Tasha is one of the most important things in the show. Yep. And this is where that's established with great great humor and yes. fun. And it's very like it's lighthearted, but it actually plays a huge role in this plot, in this story that's going to unfold. And it's just like sort of packed in the middle of this sort of like big silly episode that we've already talked about, but
it almost feels like a throwaway scene if you don't come in.
Absolutely, Nate. And I think that I don't know. It's one of those. It could be one of those like happy, beautiful things that happens in art where they didn't really have a plan for it, but they built on it, and that's what makes it magic. I don't know what the deal is, but I just know that part of the story is by far the most important thing in the episode, and it's worth noting to me.
I just like though that she walked it back. So I remembered this being that pivotal moment. We will see it come back up again in the future over and over again, but she really walked it back after it happened like it didn't happen, Data. And it was like this drunken night, one night stand, which I never remembered it being that. For some reason in my
But it kind of was a drunken one night stand.
It was. I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm not saying her reaction was bad. I'm just saying I feel a little sad now because for the last X number of years, I was like, yeah, Tasha and Data, they had affection for each other. This was his first kind of affection. But it wasn't in this episode. Like we used this exact moment, but that wasn't it. It was she almost like used him like a booty call and didn't think he'd care.
I disagree. I want to push back on that because I think that we already know of a little bit about Tasha at this point, and we will know more. And one of the things that's very clear about her is it's important to her the way that she is perceived in Starfleet. It's extremely important to her because she comes from less than nothing. She's so for her, it's like her reputation is everything. And she takes a measured approach to how she does everything, how she speaks with people, how she commands her role. Like she's very, very meticulous, and she doesn't like that part of her wild part, which is very much still inside her. So when she gives in and enjoys an evening with Data, it's giving into a carnal primal part of her that she's trying to hide from the world. She doesn't want people to see anymore.
So you got all of this from watching one episode that we learned about her at Encounter of Firepoint being chased by rape gangs, and then this? Or are you pulling this from all of your vastness coming back to it? So I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm just saying, like, if you were, would you say the same thing if you'd only seen these 3 episodes?
No, Aaron, would you say the same thing if you'd only seen these?
Well, wait. I have an answer to that. Before Aaron says anything, I have an answer to that, Abby. I would say, I think that I would trust that the writers had some nugget of an idea of who the characters were. I know we've talked a lot about that they're not established yet, and as viewers, we haven't had that experience yet. But I'd like to think that they know some things at this point. They've done some historical backwriting on the character. They know kind of things about them. So I do think maybe, yes, they did know that.
As somebody who has watched the original series and now 2 episodes of Next Gen, at least that we've talked about, my thoughts were more still along the lines of, I don't know how they made the leap from basically androids, AI, sentient robots are bad, was basically the message throughout much of the original series, to now there's an android on the bridge, and now we'll throw in some robot sex.
And I can't wait to explain that.
I don't know still how they've made that leap, but really had no thoughts beyond that other than Data coming back on the bridge, seeming a little drunk and goofy was humorous.
Brent Spiner is a goddamned brilliant actor in every possible way. He can play any character, any of them, like almost to like a Robin Williams level, right?
Dude, I forget about that sometimes. They just like we've talked a lot about your characters not being established yet, but like he is just wearing makeup. Like I forget about that sometimes. It's just literally just white makeup on his face, and I'm pulled in every single time.
Yeah, his mannerisms, his body movements, everything that he does, like, it creates that character from the very, very first episode, right? And it's just, even though we see like a different Data in this episode because everyone's drunk and horny, it's still Data. Like, it's just drunk and horny Data. You can still tell it's the same character, it's the same person, so more so than anyone else.
A thought that I've had, and where some of my knowledge of Star Trek has come from watching The Big Bang Theory a number of times and thoroughly enjoying that show. And in that show, I always felt, and then watching through the original series, it was a bit like, okay, Sheldon, he's trying to be Spock. And now 2 episodes into Next Gen, it's just like, oh no, Sheldon is trying to be Data. And I think even in some episodes of The Big Bang Theory, he's dressed as Spock, and others he does dress as Data, but it's just like, oh no, he is Data for sure. Way more than he is Spock, in my opinion, after 2 episodes of TNG, or now I suppose we've watched 4. But yeah. I don't have too many more thoughts on this one, really. One note I had, just kind of a throwaway, and probably why I only rated the episode okay, was I thought the buildup was pretty good in the episode, but then the conclusion, it just felt a bit rushed. I mean, they had that red herring of like, oh, we found the cure they did. Oh no, it didn't work. And then they just magically found the next cure. It just felt a bit rushed. I did, in the storytelling elements, the whole, like, if you show me a gun in the first act, it better happen in the third act. with Wesley and his tractor beam stuff, and then being able to say, "Oh, I can take the tractor beam and use it to like push us away." How they did tie that back, I thought that was a good use of the medium and good use of storytelling. But yeah, overall, I feel like a 6 is a bit too harsh, but I can't bring myself to give it a 7. That's kind of where I'm at.
There's some interesting trivia here. I don't know how much time we want to spend on the trivia itself, but where was that piece? So this is another DC Fontana episode. But she had her name removed from the credits because they so messed with it that she didn't want anything to do with it. So she wrote the original draft and then they monkeyed with it and she flipped them the middle finger and walked away. So that's always interesting. We have very mixed reactions about DC Fontana episodes.
I have to say I had a data moment while I was watching this, because when Riker said they were sucked out, I was just like, they would have been blown out. And then as soon as I thought that, data was like, it would have been blown out. I was like, oh damn.
Nerd. There's a great
He said that out loud and I looked at him. I was like, really? And he kind of did like this sheepish, like, oh good, at least he corrected it.
Yeah. I was like, well.
So there's a quote from Maurice Hurley, who's a producer on the show, about this particular episode. And he says, "That to me represented, don't we have a new idea? I didn't like that show at all. It just wasn't very good. What it did show, though, was that the new ensemble could interact and that there were relationships between them that worked. But doing it was terrible. It was a warmed over premise. Why do it?"
Kind of
I
in
think
line
that's
with
a
that
good
thing.
assessment
It
of
really,
the
it's a
episode.
great assessment.
So,
do you guys want to do some? I have 7 questions on this one.
okay.
Do you want to buzz in?
One more piece of trivia?
Absolutely. Go for it.
So apparently, if you remember the scene where Picard and Crusher are in the doorway to his ready room and she's putting the moves on him and he's trying to get away, he does like a throat clear, like a really uncomfortable, like, oh my God. Apparently that is a impersonation or replica of the same sound that Gregory Peck made in Captain Horatio Hornblower, which is the inspiration of Star Trek by Gene Roddenberry.
Wow.
So that was written into the script?
Yeah. To make that sound at that moment. So there. Yes, you can tell trivia now.
So Abby's got some trivia questions. Game time for us.
All right. Say your name first before you answer it. Don't just call it the answer. Nate.
Whoa. I haven't done that.
Whoa.
So
Okay. All right. What is the name of the science vessel
Nate.
they are going to rendezvous? Yes, Nate.
SS Siakowski. I knew that was going to be the first question, too.
I did too.
Then why didn't you buzz in?
I was actually going to say my name before.
Even though when I was watching the episode, I was like, I need to write this shit down because I know it's going to come up in the test.
I'm never going to get one of these.
What specifically killed the bridge crew on I can't pronounce it. Tsiolkovsky?
Aaron?
Tsiolkovsky. Aaron?
They were blown out the escape hatch.
That's right. They were blown out the hatch.
Explosive decompression. Could we have accepted that answer?
What specifically happened which resulted in Geordi being infected? So something specifically happened on that ship.
Aaron?
A
fully clothed person fell out of the shower.
That's true. Hit him.
A throwback to the original.
Yep.
Which of the following names did Wesley not program his science project to replicate? Picard, Chief Engineer, Yar, or Dr. Crusher?
Nate, Yar.
Who infected Deanna?
Nate.
Aaron.
Nate.
Riker. Oh, no, I'm wrong.
No, he's out. Well, did you buzz in, Aaron?
He did.
I did.
He comes in right after me.
3, 2,
I was gonna say
1.
Riker.
Oh, Greg,
but I was
you get a
thinking
free
Crusher.
guess.
Riker infects him. It's flipped. I know it now.
Don't say it. Hey, Greg still has a guess.
I think it's Geordi, but I can't remember.
It's Yar.
It's Yar. Remember,
Yar.
she's in there getting all dressed and wants to be all pretty.
Yeah, I had backwards.
Dumped 3 of you.
I was gonna say Riker because I thought you'd said Crusher.
Oh, who infected Picard?
Crusher.
Nate.
Oh, Gregg.
Nate.
Sorry.
Was it the
Nate?
then? It wasn't. Is the guy at the helm, right? No. Never mind. I'll shut up now. I'll crawl in my corner. This is not my episode.
I don't know. I didn't have the answer to that one. I was hoping you guys did.
Oh,
I thought it was Beverly. Was it not
that's
Beverly?
what I said.
So this isn't a real trivia question. You're just asking a question.
I made that one up because that one I didn't know.
I think it's Beverly. Yeah, I think it's Beverly.
Was it Beverly? Yeah. I feel like she
Geordi,
she say you touched me and then
No, that was
Riker.
Riker.
That was Riker.
That was Riker.
Geordi gives it to her. She's got to give it to somebody. I think she gives it to Picard.
But I remember before Picard started having symptoms, there's a scene where he's on the bridge and Worf is at ops, and there's an unnamed helmsman there who starts like pulling at his collar and stuff like that before they like dismiss him off the bridge. And I could be completely wrong. I feel like Picard like put his hand on his shoulder or something like that. I'd have to go back and rewatch that scene.
All right, last one. How old was Tasha when she was abandoned as a child? I feel like this
Gregg.
is like catered. Oh, I didn't see. Aaron, you tell me who went
Nate.
first on that one.
I don't want to say that was
He
such
said that so sadly.
right?
I think it was Nate.
I'm pretty sure I
Oh.
buzzed in earlier. I'll check it again and find out that I was like 5/100ths of a second behind him.
That's usually how it works. So I can answer the
Oh.
question now, or are we?
Yeah. All right. The jury won't criticize you on it. How old?
5.
She was 5.
Shit, that's what I was gonna say.
Dun dun dun. That's all I got for this one.
So should we go to the vastly better episode,
This
Code
is
of Honor? Oh God, this episode was bad.
Oh, so I
episode,
will say,
episode 4, Code of Honor. Let's go back and let's see.
I've got summary
Episode 4, Code of Honor, when the leader of an alien culture takes a romantic interest in Lieutenant Yar. He claims her for his own to the dismay of his own wife, who in turn challenges Tasha in a fight to the death.
So I will say, as we get into this, while I agree that this is a terrible episode and I didn't rate it very highly, this to me just felt like a original series episode. The pacing, the story, everything about it was like if you took the original cast and plugged it into this, like it was Uhura instead of Yar or something like that, it totally could have been an original series episode. A really bad original series episode, but it felt that way to me. So
I'll do my rank right away.
Give her score first.
Abby hated it. It was so boring and so dumb. But I don't like Tasha. So I'm a horrible person. I'm like the opposite of Gregg over there because I think she's just annoying.
Whoa. I didn't say I like Tasha.
Yeah, I don't remember him ever saying that.
She's just so okay. So here's my take on this, right? She's so overly emotional about everything for no reason. Like you're security chief. You shouldn't be flying off the handle at every little thing. Can you take a breath? And even Picard in multiple episodes now, because we're only 3 episodes in, he said to do it. Is that your professional opinion? And she's like, sorry, sir, I overreacted. It's like, I get it. You've got shit in your past, but can you get your act together here? You're kind of in charge of like 400 people and their safety. Can you calm down a little bit so you don't like kill people?
Should we talk about how big the Enterprise is? It's not 400 people.
I don't know. Yeah, but you know what I mean. It's more than just one person. Is all I'm trying to say. She's
especially given the fact that you are the chief of security on the flagship.
Correct.
Right? You should be the best at your job out of anyone in that role. Right? Theoretically. And I I don't dislike her character. I just never came to really care about her character all that much. I think is my reaction.
So
I kind of feel to Tasha as Gregg does to Will Wheaton or to Wesley. It's kind of like I don't like. I'm not mad about her, but I'm like I'd rather you not be the main character today.
When I hear people talk about Next Gen, I don't really hear much about Tasha Yar. So
it's understandable.
But she's been very prominent in all of the episodes we've watched so far.
She was a Playboy model. So that's why.
Why?
She was a Playboy model, wasn't she?
I don't know.
Really?
No, I don't think she's a
trivia
Playboy
folks.
model.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
You tell us, Greg. Where have you seen her before?
That was the reason she was on the show.
April 1886 edition. That's how we know her.
Hold on a second.
Oh yeah, she was.
Okay, so you guys are making me feel crazy here.
But that's not the only way that she was famous, though.
No, she wasn't.
Bing Crosby's granddaughter.
Right, right. But she had. I believe she had just done like some Playboy work going into the show, and she was very, very famous at that time. I think is part of the reason she's so front loaded on the series.
As somebody who I've just kidding. As somebody who I've not really heard much about, I've heard the name before, but not much about the character. I was a bit surprised at how prominent she has been in the first handful of episodes. It's interesting. I'm looking at a little bit of trivia, and a lot of criticism of this episode comes down to it being viewed as a very racist episode. And I guess I didn't even think in those terms. I just thought this episode sucked. I just thought it was dumb. I watched it 1.5 times because I slept through half of it the first time, and I had to rewatch it to know what happened. And when I watched it, I gave it a 4. I thought it was a bad episode.
I also gave it a 4, so you're not far off.
I gave it a 4 as well.
Aaron, I also fell asleep while watching this episode.
My first note,
it's a 9.
I took no notes when I watched it. I wrote down some thoughts after, and I said, initial thought, dumb episode. I struggled to stay awake. Anytime I was paying attention, I thought it was just dumb.
All right. So piece of trivia here for this. Very first piece of trivia on IMDb, by the way.
Yeah.
Gene Roddenberry fired director Russ Mayberry because he objected to the casting of African actors as the Ligonians who portrayed to be a primitive race. So even at the time, the director is like, this is a racist pile of shit, and we shouldn't do this. And Gene Roddenberry said, you're gone.
Wow.
The other piece of trivia that I knew, but it's second on the list, is a contingent of the cast, including Jonathan Frakes, tried to get this pulled from circulation and never aired again. They did not want this episode to ever see the light of day ever again.
Of all the 9s, I'm
the lowest of the 9s.
This is definitely going to be very low on the list for me. I'll put it that way. I don't enjoy this episode. I don't enjoy this episode very much. Anytime I've watched it, I even as a kid, I wasn't that into it. It's just not. Yeah, it's. I even though I'm ranking everything as a 9, and I do mean it because it's how much I love the show. This one is just
the only, and I give you a lot of grief for that, but I also sort of understand because I'm also
he's not going to have below a 9.3 for any DS9 episode.
Probably not, but also I've always been of the opinion that even bad Star Trek is good Star
episode
Trek.
Below a 9 on DS9.
So anyway, I mean, I will watch if it has Star Trek in front of it. I will watch it, and if it's not bad, it's still Star Trek, and I still enjoyed myself on some level. Just maybe not as much for certain episodes, like I don't know, Code of Honor. What a terrible! I mean, frankly, it is a pretty racist episode. Like,
Objectively, I don't think there's really any arguing that it's not. Like it's very uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
In this day and age, that's for sure.
Well, I thought it was interesting too how it almost seemed like it was trying to play a commentary on a patriarchal society by flipping it over at the end and it being this matriarchal
That
society.
could have been really cool if they'd actually done that.
But I thought it just fell flat. I was trying to think through like what
they didn't even bother to like try and make the costuming appear, unique to the story itself.
They borrowed a lot from different African cultures.
Yeah, it's so like you didn't even try with the costume. There's like nothing you did to try and elevate this, beyond the casting of Black people. It's very uncomfortable.
Apparently, there was a lot of protests during the episode, during filming, where people were like, "This is a terrible idea," and Gene Roddenberry did not care. So
I still just think it was just a shitty episode, though. Like, I was trying to think through story-wise what didn't work about this episode, and there was so much that didn't. And I think it was, in part, there was an existential threat going on. They needed to get this vaccine to save a planet. And there was an immediate threat of Tasha getting Tasha back after she was kidnapped, and their honor society and all of that. And while they connected those to say, if you don't play our honor game that we want, you won't get her back and we won't give you the vaccine, there was nothing that really connected those two threats. So it was like this existential threat going on that didn't really have anything to do with the story of how anything developed. And then the immediate threat had nothing to do in any tangible way with the existential threat they were facing. It was just shitty storytelling.
It's not a cultural problem that they're facing. It's just an individual problem with this one guy.
Yeah.
They're just having an issue with this one dude.
Yeah. And it just didn't work. Although I did laugh at the end, their little arena battle setup is basically the tag championship setup that pops up in my YouTube for playlist for whatever reason. Recommendations. Like, I'm sitting here and I've been watching people play tag for 10 minutes. It was basically that setup. But yeah, oh God, it was just a terrible episode.
So it's interesting because I didn't necessarily catch this. This is basically not as bad as Naked Time versus Naked Now, but this is effectively a remake of Amok Time, where they fight in the arena, Kirk versus Spock, and the battle to the death. So kind of a reuse of that script. They obviously changed the story quite a bit, but that's an interesting thing that's in the trivia.
You're muted, Abby.
It feels like a recycling.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to see.
I wouldn't even say
will you track this
time.
for us? Will you track the ones that we dislike? And I want to see if those have a direct correlation to ones where we feel like they're recycling.
Okay.
Like, just put a little like R next to the episode or whatever, because I'm curious to see that if the ones that are recycled episodes that we liked in the original series, are we liking them now if it's recycled? Like, we didn't like the arena that much, did we? As I recall, it wasn't great. I don't think
arena. I thought you hated arena. And
I hated arena, so I'm consistent.
I seem to remember Aaron and I liked arena, and you hated it.
Oh, see, I was the only one right, apparently. So there we go.
Yeah, I gave it.
If Next Generation can't do it right, it's not a good episode.
Abby gave it a 3.
Now,
Dead
Now,
on.
I do think so. There were some episodes, like it might make me think a little more of like the Gamesters of Triskelion or whatever. Which, if I trying to look up my rating on that one, but I recall.
But even that one was similar to Amok Time.
Yeah,
right. There are a lot. Those are some of the episodes that we talked about. It's like, oh, this is just another reuse of that story, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah. I was trying to think through when rating this. It's just like, okay, what next gen episodes that were, or what original series episodes that weren't very good would I want to rewatch over this one? And I would almost go rewatch Catspaw over this.
Wow, that is
Oh,
Granted,
that's
I have them rated
that
about the
is a
same,
blow.
but
Have you?
that episode sucked.
Wow.
But this episode
Wow.
sucked, and I watched this one twice. It was
I'm
terrible.
sorry. I only watched it because we were recording this. Otherwise, like
You
if
would
I
have
were to
skipped it.
watch through, I probably would have just skipped it. It's
But
just
Greg nined it. He enjoyed it so much.
Well,
there's
he
no
said it was
time.
a bad
9
9.
times out of 10, he would
Okay.
appreciate
So
this
Hey,
episode
watched
over
it.
something
I've
else.
watched it. I watched it every time.
is this an up or a down from the previous episode?
Oh, it's definitely a down.
Yeah. So, I didn't want to assume on your behalf, but
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I came into the recording tonight thinking about the fact that I basically slept through half of this, and I was wondering, like, how am I going to talk about this tonight? So I was very happy to hear you all hated it too. I was like, oh,
I was I was dozing off throughout the entire time we watched it, and then it ended, and the first thing Abby said was dumb episode, and I was like, good, I caught the gist. And then I forced myself to watch it again, and even then I could barely pay attention to it. I was like, oh God, this episode is terrible.
I also hated that weapon so much. The spiky thing with the hook
Yeah.
just does not. Well, I'm no weaponsmith, or I don't know anything about any of that stuff, but that feels like quite possibly the least elegant and least efficient weapon that anyone could possibly pick for anything, right?
That weapon, like designed wise, was as elegant as the dog with the costume in the original
Yes.
series. It was on par with that, where
Great
someone was
call
like,
back.
I can make this happen. My kid's got a project due at school on
Found
Monday.
some nails
We'll
through it.
recycle it.
And
So-
it just
Comic made
it
it.
looks
One-
worse in, in high def too. So
One positive of world building from this episode that I saw is they are making a much more concerted effort to reference and respect the Prime Directive.
yes.
Instead of it getting
Great
some
point.
throwaway references in the original series and then basically being like, Prime Directive, fuck it.
Yeah.
I
They
mean, that's
definitely
kind of
do that.
how it went with much of the original series, was just whatever. But
Didn't we have a vaccine episode too, where it was like, give us the vaccine or we'll blow you up, and then you end
Yeah,
up being
probably.
potato or whatever? Like,
probably.
Yeah.
Here's what I did like about it. So you talk about the Prime Directive, and there was some discussion without actually saying the words that, they're willing to give up Tasha in order to get this vaccine. And that is, still kind of a challenging decision, but they realize that that's probably the best move within the confines of the Prime Directive, right? But the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one, right? So thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people are going to die from this plague if they don't get this vaccine, versus maybe they lose Tasha, right? And so while that's a difficult decision to make, I kind of respect the fact that they took that approach. But also I love the character building around Data in this episode too. Just him trying to at least halfway master comedy and that kind of thing. Like, again, Brent Spiner delivers that so well that he's funny about not being funny.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And it's just, those are little parts I think are really great. As
I don't have
to
much.
stop Steve.
I don't have much more to say about this episode.
I
I
don't either.
didn't care for it. I'm ready to put it behind us.
do we
Okay,
have
let's
trivia
do
on it, Nate?
Sure.
The trivia, I've kind of gone through most of it. Everyone hated this episode. This is not how it was written. In fact, in the script, The only African Americans in the script were the guards. But somewhere along the line that changed. Let's see here. So again, Maurice Hurley, the producer, said the episode was a good idea, but the execution just fell apart. Again, if you take that script and if the actors had been told to give it a different twist, that show would have been different. But it became too baroque and fell apart. But the concept of having a guy say, "I have to have somebody kill my wife, and this is the person," is a good idea. Meh.
I disagree.
Yeah, I don't think they could have. I don't see how this could be redeemed a different way.
Like I said, I read some of the trivia and see like, oh yeah, they say this is race is a big problem in this episode, and like I said, even you can put that aside. I thought this episode is just garbage.
Race, we've talked all about it, but like, it doesn't really. None of the characters really move forward.
Yeah. It's just nothing.
I think Data moves forward a little bit. Like
Data moves forward a little bit.
But yes, beyond that,
the general, the logic of things is kind of off. Like their ability to they establish that they don't have as advanced technology, but they're still able to, kidnap a member of the ship. It's just a lot of things about the episode that just don't really click, and the fight at the end is very anticlimactic. It's not fighting in this show in general is always a little hit or miss, and this one is like
it was a little Kirk fight. It was a little Kirk fighting scene at the end for sure. It's Kirk with his shirt off, just randomly throwing people around and not really making it.
They look like they're doing a dance or something. It's really not.
They kidnapped the top security officer of the flagship. And let that happen. And she admits to loving him afterwards within a few hours.
Okay, so I do need to
security, right?
I do need to go back, to even the previous episode and Geordi being in sick bay, and I think just kind of getting up and leaving. To say it's good to know that in 80 years, security on these ships still is dog shit.
Sucks.
To be fair,
we allow teenagers to go down to engineering and hang out there and just bring their science projects down there for fun.
Hijack the entire ship from a monitor, just like a little monitor in engineering. He's like, all right, now I got command of the ship.
I'm like, how does the turbo lift go to that level? Are people just like strolling by engineering all day long?
They're very trusting people. They're very trusting.
Very trusting.
Wesley hijacked the ship with a button bar.
Oh boy.
So I don't really have anything else on this one, so I'm sure I could think of stuff later. So be done.
Quizzes, or do you want to be all the way out of it?
I don't even care.
Oh, trivia. Do it. Game time. Game time. Let's go.
I'm gonna go cough a lung up while these two do it.
What was the name of the secondary officer?
No clue.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Lieutenant Second Nate, do you know? Hogan.
Hogan
do you know the name? Huh?
Hogan Ceros? Sorry.
Exactly.
Terrible reference.
What was the name of the race?
Aaron
said earlier. Yeah.
The Ligonians.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. What is the name of the holodeck program Tasha plays to show the Ligonians?
Aaron.
Aikido one. Yep. Where on the bridge does Picard allow Wesley to seat?
You can create humans without a soul? I'm sorry, go. What was the question again?
Where on the bridge does Picard allow Wesley to sit? What station?
He sits at the controls.
On the left side.
Yep. What's over on the left side? Nate knows this.
No idea.
Oh, Jesus
fucking Christ.
Come on, Nate. What is it? Where on the bridge does Picard allow Wesley to sit?
The con.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Ops. At Ops.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's both. Whatever. Yeah. Gregg got that one.
He was sitting next to Geordi.
Yes.
What? Okay, two more.
I got one.
No, one more actually. What planet was the vaccine for? They say it a few times.
I didn't
This
write
video,
that.
this one sucked so bad. We're not paying attention to anything on it. That's how bad this is.
Pretty much.
I didn't take many notes.
And I watched it twice.
Styrus 4. Yeah, Styrus 4. They bring it up a few times.
No clue.
Oh. All right, we just need to watch this
right.
from. Is this the like stinker episode of Next Gen, Nate? Like we've got the stinker of Voyager. We all know what it is. We don't.
This is one of
It's
two.
the episode we don't talk about, right? That Aaron seems to always want to talk about.
Yeah. So this is going to be one of those.
Just like that episode.
This is going to be one where somebody loses a bet and they have to go rewatch this one.
ENG.
I mean, I would hazard a guess that if you ask people to list like their top 3 worst either Star Trek episodes in general or specifically Next Gen, this would be on that list. I have a hard debate over whether it's this episode or the other one that's later that Gregg probably knows I'm talking about. That's worse. I think I would probably put this one worse than that one, but not by much. So,
okay.
All right.
No.
So shall we move on
Please.
to episode 5? 4 or 5. I don't know how we want to count these, since we'll say episode 4, since
it's technically classified as 4.
Yeah, it's classified as 4. Okay. Where the Enterprise makes a confrontational first contact with the piratical Ferengi race as their 2 ships are ensnared by a presumed dead planet ready to judge them in the last outpost. And my first thought on this one is I wrote it down and said, "Stop. Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3 ere the other side he see."
I love it. I had not thought of that, but that's pretty good.
Pretty good.
So the Ferengi are something that I did not realize I was aware of, that they are a thing, that they exist, and that's a word that I've heard is about all I know about them. So finding out that this is the first time that they've ever been contacted or seen up close. They were referenced, I think, in Encounter at Farpoint. Almost in a sense where it would seem like they were a known entity. So I'm curious how they know as much as they do without actually having ever seen them. But yeah, so first
they address that
time seeing the Ferengi. They
address that. They said it is, because I have that in my. It's an interesting shift on the Ferengi, because in that Firepoint episode, they talk about them almost like a baby eaters, kind of like they're going to sick them after your children kind of alien race. And now they kind of walk that back a little bit by saying it's rumor only. It's part of Picard's initial thing. Everything we know about them is rumor only and just speculation. So they're the boogeyman in the night is what my takeaway was.
So yeah, what were our thoughts? What were ratings on this episode? Gregg, you go first.
All right, I'll kick us off.
Guessing a 9.
It's a 9.
Is this up or down?
Better than the last episode.
We're just slightly rising up.
Okay, so we have an upward trend. Got it.
Yeah, 9 with a little more weight. This is an interesting episode. I don't love it, but I do find it like it's one of the first weird experience on a planet episodes, so I appreciate it on that level, sort of a sidebar adventure, with like a different kind of a setting, and isolate a few characters who maybe we haven't seen isolated together yet, and see how they interact with each other, and you get to see a little bit of a little bit of battle stuff and how the characters are, in a high stress situation, and you get introduced to the Ferengi. So I know a lot of important stuff's happening in this episode. I like it on all those levels, but I'm not, I don't love it. It's not like a super fun watch. It's kind of slow, and Ferengis in general, they grate on my nerves, which I know that's kind of intentional. Like
Yep.
I think that's very intentional. So
there's an entire series centered around a couple of them as like main characters.
Yeah, that'd be hard for me to watch.
And we're supposed to enjoy this series, and they are the most annoying characters ever.
They're tough to watch, man. They're. And I think, like I said, I think it's intentional. It works.
It looks like he's about to rage quit the podcast. She's like, don't say anything.
Because I already know she's trying to get a rise out of me. So
I have no idea what you're talking about. I said nothing about your favorite series, did I?
No.
I just mentioned how annoying Ferengi are in every capacity.
Oh man. But yeah, so don't love the episode. It's watchable. There's some pretty big stuff happening in it, but it's not high on my list, that's for sure.
Nate, what's your rating?
So it's sure as hell is a lot better than Code of Honor. I actually like this episode. I think it's an interesting premise. I like those kind of those episodes where you realize that the species that we know of in Star Trek today aren't the most advanced species out there, and there are many more advanced species that have kind of come and gone or disappeared over the eons, and so we get to see another one of them, right? I also like it as an introduction to the Ferengi, and for me, there's a lot of world building in this episode around that species in general. There's a lot of things that they mention that are like throwaway comments that actually like come back later in Next Gen and on other series that shall not be named, that are actually like a part of the culture, right? So here we are all the way back in the beginning of Next Gen, and we're actually building out this new species that we start to see throughout, the next several decades of Star Trek. I think that's very cool. So, and the story itself, I think is that interesting kind of, it's more rushed towards the end because I think it's like the last 10 or 15 minutes of the episode, but that almost like that comparison of good versus evil, right? They're being judged by the Guardian of being, worthy of entering the Takan Empire, and it's their responses and their actions to things that will either allow them in or result in their deaths, right? And let's face it, Sun Tzu references are kind of fun.
Yeah,
can't argue with that, right? So I don't know if I said this already. I gave it a 7. I liked it. I think it's, especially for the first season, it's one of the stronger episodes.
Uh-oh. So I thought the episode was mostly okay. Interesting enough. Some of the dialogue at the end pulled me so far out of the episode that I can only give it a 5. I thought there were some good moments throughout, but there were some dumb moments that were so dumb, and hard to get past. I can say, as I was watching, there was a line, and I was like, that is so bad that literally I docked it a point for that because of how it was said. I
don't know what that line was.
It was so dumb. So the lead up to it, I mean, I thought the Ferengi were too cartoonish of villains. Like in the view screen or whatever it's called, that interaction at the start, that was a good villain interaction. But then they get down to the planet and these Ferengi are just a bunch of cartoons. And I think the episode suffered from that. But yeah, one of them had been saying something about they're demented, their values are insane. You cannot believe the business opportunities they have destroyed. Because they're this cartoonish capitalist, all the worst aspects of capitalism society. And then Letek says, proof of their barbarism. They adorn themselves with gold, a despicable use of a valuable metal. And they shamelessly clothe their females, inviting others to unclothe them. I was like, that is so just
because unclothing
profoundly
is the very depths of perversion, as he says later.
But like that line, the way it was said, I was like, that is so profoundly just stupidly stay put. I was like, I could not get past how cartoonish they made the Ferengi seem, and I was like, it was so dumb. So yeah,
that is a great way to say
episode
that.
A 5.
And that is so, they say that way, Aaron. Like that is, I never heard of someone describe a Ferengi that way.
I don't know.
But
now
this, I don't know if I can talk about this now. I'm literally rolling away from my desk because I both agree and disagree with you.
So now there were
levels, but nobody's watched any of the stuff that proves my point.
So in Next Generation, I will say this: Ferengis to me have always just been that annoying creature where it's like, oh God, it's them again. Where you just, they're going to cause problems. They're just an annoying person to deal with that we have to do extra effort to make sure things don't blow up because of you. Like they always just get in the way and cause mischief. They're mischievous.
It's funny because in the trivia for this episode, and I had heard this before in other places, the Ferengi were meant to be the new Romulans from the Next Generation. They wanted to introduce a new species that was going to be, the bad guy, the somewhat mysterious force that they go up against. And they make references to nobody's seen what a Ferengi looks like in real life and yada, 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 right? And by the time they were done filming this episode, they were like, this is way too cartoonish and over the top for us to use them as the main villain for the series. And so they scrapped the whole plan.
If their intent was to create a main villain for the series, especially knowing what they eventually went with and how it works.
Yeah.
Boy, it was a misfire. Because
total misfire.
And not a misfire because they're an interesting race. They're an interesting species. I mean, in the universe. I don't dislike Ferengis. I respond to them the way that they are presented, which is like this sort of cartoonish, vaudevillian, prancing monster beast. And right? They even do this a little bit. And there's sort of for listeners, I'm arching my hands like a classic villain. They're just like a joke, and that's how they're presented. So it's like it definitely did not work as a main villain because what you created is a very humorous, sort of obnoxious monster, and they're definitely introduced very well. They in this show they don't change a whole lot. Like what's that?
It's pretty consistent.
Yeah, it's very consistent and in a good way, So I don't mean to come down on Ferengi that hard, like I like Ferengi. It's just I like them in the role that they serve in the story. Like it's
yeah. And I think there are better episodes within the Next Generation that utilize the Ferengi, right? Not without question, tropes go away, but it's better used, right?
The best. There's one of the best storylines in the Next Generation has crosses over to Voyager at one point. I mean, it's a great storyline. It's
a
fucking
great
fantastic.
storyline.
Yeah. So, and
it's
it
actually a
involves
really good
Ferengi.
Voyager episode too. So
yeah, and you know, it involves Ferengi, so that's great. Yeah, you know, it's nothing against the Ferengi, and I did like, Nate, what you mentioned. That was one of my notes too. Is I love in the series. I love in science fiction in general, but I do love in the series when we encounter a fallen civilization. I love the idea of fallen civilizations that are millennia old, that aren't around anymore, and sort of like, you know, touching, exploring their you know, existence, their once glorious existence and stuff. There's a few of those in season 1, and this one is a pretty good one. I enjoyed that aspect.
And going back in time, there's several of them in the original series too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, City on the Edge of Forever is kind of like that with the Guardian there. What was one of the last episodes of the original series where they go through the pole?
Yeah,
I could go look at my list. I just can't remember you know,
it was like was it? No, it wasn't the last episode. It was the second to last one, I think.
The last one was the body snatching episode.
Yeah. Yeah, it was see, All Our Yesterdays.
Yep, that's what it was.
Yep.
Yeah, I like those episodes. I think they're interesting. Probably another reason why I like the show Babylon 5 so much is that's kind of a major plot point. And so I think that helps me enjoy this a little bit more. Just kind of all those aspects pulled together. I actually took a lot more notes on this than I did other episodes, so I was clearly engaged. There's some good quotes in there too. So I don't know. And I think
so.
Abby, what was your rating on this?
I gave it a 6.
Yeah.
I didn't I mean, I didn't like it. It was right in the middle. I wouldn't necessarily be like, "Ooh, this is my favorite episode. I want to rewatch it." I agree. I like meeting new characters on that. I also noted the difference in how they were described in the pilot versus now. And they even said that they're technologically on the same level as the Federation, which I had never gleaned from that. They always seemed a little bit kind of behind, but that might be because they act kind of childish, a little bit spoiledish. And so that might be making it seem like they're not as advanced because they act like children in our eyes, or in my eyes a little bit, in how they interact. So I did find that interesting as this being like the building block for seeing Ferengi encounters later on. And we have some amazing episodes of Ferengi. I don't want to say I dislike Ferengi. I mean, my favorite is the Majel episode with Ferengi.
Oh, that's such a great episode.
It's a fantastic episode. So they learn how to really turn into this and just embrace the parts of it that are like, you know what, these guys are annoying. We're just going to go with it on it. It was, the effects on the planet bothered me a little bit. Like, oh, they're all on the ground, you know, in a puddle of fog. And it was a little weird. And then the random like dude that shows up, he's like, I'm a new Earth creator. I'm a new creator. I'll sleep again until I meet again. Again, felt like an older series episode to me, where it was like, there's a big disconnect between what was happening. Like, he just randomly grabs these starships as they go by. And it just happened to be in this vast world, vast universe, that they went by at the right exact place for this dude to be like, I want to teach humanity something. It didn't flow. It didn't have a storyline. There wasn't a beginning and an end. It had that little bit of a random piece to it for me that it was too unlikely. So I will say a couple things that I did notice on this one though. We're seeing Picard get more into his groove. He's less manic. He's not like yelling at people or crazy, like calm down. You know, he's more in his stage. He's calm with everyone. He's almost like suave as he's talking to people, just like, well, how do you think that would work? You know, he's kind of showing these leadership qualities a lot more. We're able to see more of the like subtle humor within people as well. I mean, Data
Oh my God! Don't even start that.
It's because I
We're not
read
that
down on my
far ahead
notes,
yet.
and
Data.
I read my notes, and I was like, that is not what that word is.
Oh,
Data.
Data.
God.
We'll let
But
that slide once.
Yeah,
That's
okay,
time.
okay, 9 or 10er. I feel like your opinions are a little whatever. The finger puzzle thing was just hysterical, and I did
that was
like it.
really funny.
I mean, I laughed so hard at that,
And
and
the
I've
cast
seen it
hated that, by
before.
the way.
I
In the
had
trivia, it says they hated that
Why?
whole thing. I
Really?
don't know. I thought it was brilliant.
It landed so well,
It
and then at
landed
the
great.
end, they put it up again, like
It's perfect.
permission to
I
beam a bunch of finger puzzles to the Ferengi ship. I'm like, that is
The
like a
very Trumbo
great,
Tribbles thing, right?
yes,
Yeah.
I only had
yes.
3 notes this episode, and one is Chinese finger trap. I really enjoyed that whole sequence. I really enjoyed
So I feel like there's a piece of trivia that's missing in this, because again, this is, everyone on the ship goes wherever they want because they walk into the conference room and there's 2 little kids in there that Riker chases out. And my first thought is, what the hell are there 2 little kids doing in this conference room, right? And obviously it's a setup for them leaving behind the Chinese finger trap. But I want to know, like, is there a reason why they picked those 2 little kids? Like, were they the kids of one of the crew members or something like that? And I've never found any trivia to explain that, but it's so random to do that, to have the placement of the finger trap for it to be just a complete, like, yeah, we pulled 2 kids as extras and we told them to run out of the room when Jonathan Frakes walks in and call it a day, right?
But he did a great job on that too, though,
Oh,
because
he did. I mean,
that ties into the pilot. Like, help me, I'm not good with kids, and the kids, he's just like, get out, quick, 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 quick. I mean, all of that was consistent. We're staying within our characters. We're still staying within the pilot set, but we're advancing a little. We're adapting. We're grooving with it. I appreciated it. The other comments I had in my notes on this, because old series versus new, was Picard is so diplomatic. And that's one thing where I think some people love Picard. He's good. He's good at talking to people. He's good at talking them down. He doesn't jump the gun. He talks down his own security person.
So
compare that to Kirk.
I want to
where Kirk would have bombed these people 5 times over before we even got that far.
I want to jump in here because I think I probably have a different perspective than you 3 at this point.
Probably.
And
Not
I know
possible.
there's a lot of development to come with Picard. However, we are 4 episodes in, and in 4 episodes, he has not once but twice either attempted to or actually surrendered the Enterprise.
That's fair.
Twice. Kirk would not stand for that shit. He would be like,
is that
my goddamn ship, you can fuck all the way off.
Is that a Kirk versus Picard thing, or is that a families on the ship versus not families on the ship?
I'm just saying.
I get it.
I'm just making the note.
No, that's
good.
4 episodes in, and twice he has either tried to. He tried to surrender to the Ferengi, and they were just like, "We will accept your terms." And he's like, "Oh shit, yeah, well, yeah, you can surrender to us. That's totally not what we were going for."
I just
No, this is good
because for Picard for sure, right?
So I'm having to look at it and think, okay, I know this is 4 episodes in. They're still figuring out these characters. I know that even from listening to Making It So, there's a lot of development to happen in them just knowing the characters, knowing what they're doing, how he even portrays Picard as season 1 and the series progresses. So I'm mostly just talking shit there. But
that's totally fine.
Making that note though of like, yeah, Kirk probably would have bombed him or done something, or he would have just been like, yeah, you guys are going to surrender to us, and that's it. Instead of trying to give them the flagship.
Picard, Aaron, would you agree that it's already very evident Picard has a deep moral code?
Sure. Much like Sir Robin in Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
African or
Okay.
European.
It's you're touching
I'm
on a
kidding.
you're touching on a very important part of the character, and
Yeah.
I'd be curious to put another pin in that one.
Oh
and
yeah,
maybe
I say
check
that
in with
knowing
it.
full well that it will be developed over time, but
No,
I
it's good.
did find it just interesting that it's 4 episodes, and in half of them he has either tried to or actually surrendered the Enterprise.
Is he actually surrendering, or is he just using that as a ploy to get more information?
I mean, he's actually surrendering.
I don't think there's been any.
Greg and I are on this. I think Greg gave me the same look, like he's not actually surrendering.
I
didn't think he was actually
in these episodes.
Aaron's never
nothing.
Right, You're on the
there's
wrong
been
side.
nothing to indicate that it was some ploy. Now, if Kirk was doing that, you would think, oh yeah, he's got something up his sleeve, because the last thing he would ever do, unless it was the death of his entire crew and all the people he's responsible for.
We call it Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. He surrendered the ship and then blew it up.
Yeah. And that's fine. But through
Pretty
the original,
sure Picard tries to blow up his later too.
He wouldn't do it without some other plan in place that leads to his victory.
Right.
We are not giving Picard enough credit here.
Let's be honest. Picard surrendered the Enterprise like 8 minutes into the pilot.
Only half of it. Half of it.
That was a ploy.
Okay.
That
touche.
But I will say this: like, I love Picard as a captain, and I'm sure as the series goes on, you will learn why the three of us love him as much as we do.
Oh, you should, because if he was Kirk, you would have no D Space Nine. There would be no Ferengi hanging out on that starship. If it was Kirk instead, they would be at war still.
I do find that
that's not even a joke. I'm being serious. Like, I'm dead serious.
Picard values every
diplomacy,
life, every life over everything.
Yeah.
So,
but
there's never almost all of them died. Almost everybody died, resigned themselves to death. He even said that Wesley had the right to face his death away.
Yeah, I actually had a struggle with that whole scene, but I want to finish my point, because I like Picard a lot. Like, as a character, he's great, and we'll see him develop. But in the first season, I think he's kind of an asshole. Even as we're developing his moral code, like, he's just not a nice human being a lot of the time. And that gets softer, I think, towards the end of season 1, but you really don't see him develop into that broader character until we get to season 2.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So
I didn't say he was perfect. I was saying I'm starting to see some of these changes and evolutions, and he's making the right comments. He even defended Riker on one of his, didn't he say it's commander or something like that? Yeah. I don't remember. There was a line in there somewhere where he's even stepping up. Maybe that was the next episode, but you can see it changing and adapting. He's not as mean as he was in Firepoint. Where you're a nasty human being. I'm so glad I work for you. That would have been a horrible first day experience. I mean, Riker just got dragged on that episode. So we're having more relationship here. We're having more advancement in our characters, what I was saying. And Kirk would have totally blown up everybody and then the ship. So they all would have died.
Touché.
Kirk would look at it and say, yeah, you can have my ship,
can I convince
but not
the computer
actually
to kill itself?
Kirk would never let anybody take the Enterprise. He would rather blow it up than let somebody else take it. And I don't feel there was that kind of ploy being done, because I felt like it seemed like Picard was genuinely surprised that the Ferengi thought they were surrendering to the Enterprise. And then they discover, oh, it's not them, it's something else that's impacting us here. But no, I say that to a point knowing it's going to get a reaction from people, because I know that, honestly, if that was the Picard that continued for the remainder of the series, honestly seeming a little weak, at this point, 4 episodes in. If that was the Picard that went through the whole series, I don't think this series would have gone as long as it does. So that's a little bit of me being able to look ahead, knowing that there is more, to know that the character has to develop beyond what I've seen so far. And overall, my feel after watching this one is that I think Next Gen has had a weaker start than the original series did. The original series I felt started fairly strong. Some of the best rated episodes that as we rated them were for sure in season 1, and even then early in season 1, we rated all of them fairly decently. But and that's not me trying to pass judgment on Next Gen. It's just saying that like it's been a little bit of a rough start. But I can't imagine that it doesn't vastly improve. I fully expect I'm going to like Next Gen way more than I like the original series. I'm going to like Picard more than I like Kirk. That's my expectation or my anticipation. But through these 4 episodes, I can't put Picard above Kirk quite yet.
I think you will find that those assumptions are all correct.
Yeah.
But we've talked about the fact that the original series was kind of a downhill slide from the get-go, right?
Yep, started strong. Season 1 was good, and then it went downhill from there.
Season 3 was meh, right?
And then the animated series made you want to rewatch season 3.
Right.
We struggled with episodes 6, 7, and 8 right off the bat in the original
you
series.
Did.
No, everyone did. It was Mud's Women, which Nate absolutely
that one wasn't very good.
Despised. What Little Girls Are Made Of.
I thought
was
that episode
borderline
was
okay.
Good.
But then Miri, which again, everyone's favorite.
You guys
on
like
the
that
planet.
one more than me.
Dagger of the Mind.
I mean, thought so that was great.
We had some crazy episodes in there that I would not agree that we were like, yeah, we love this series.
I was looking, I wasn't
and
saying
I stand
we
by
all
my caveat that I am ranking these episodes on a whole different grading scale in my brain than the historical. So you cannot compare my 7 on Next Gen to the original series.
I was
then
looking
I'd be
purely
right.
at
Then
my
I'd be
ratings.
right there with Gregg. Every episode's a 9 or a 10 compared to the original series.
I was looking at it based on my ratings, and my ratings being, I think I had 7s and 6 and maybe an 8 in there in the first 4 episodes, discounting the cage. So saying the original series as we end up knowing it. Yeah.
So if I go through those ratings, right? Like, so for we'll call it the first 3 of the actual cast.
The first 4 of the actual cast.
Okay, so we do 2. So I'm taking out the cage.
Yep.
Right. I did 6, 7, 5, 9.
Mm-hmm.
You did 7, 6, 7, 9.
Mm-hmm.
And Abby did 8, 6, 7, 10.
Yeah. Versus, I know my rating so far is 7, 6, 4, and 5. So, and I know that it will get better. I know that there's generally, I think we even talked about this back when we were starting the original series, how it started out fairly strong for a season 1. I know late season 1 is where we kind of agreed it really hit its stride. Then we got into season 2, it dropped off, and season 3, it really dropped off. And then animated series was, God, can we get through this? Watch a couple movies and get to the good stuff. And my last note I wrote on any of these episodes was just saying I'm still excited for more. Even though I did discount this particular episode because of the way the Ferengi were and the way the dialogue went late. I thought it was just too silly, too cartoonish. But a note I wrote down, I thought Riker has been awesome in all of the episodes.
Such a great character.
He's been consistent through all of them. He's been just that just, I don't know. He's just the same throughout. Not that he's not changing and growing as a character, because if he's the exact same, that's not going to go very far. But he's been just, I think, the strongest point of all of the episodes so far.
I would agree with that.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah, and anytime he's on the screen, it's compelling, wondering, okay, what's going to happen now? And his way of figuring out how to talk to the portal to say, like, hey, what does he want to hear from us? Not that he's just bullshitting the portal, but thinking through that and saying, like, okay, what does he want to hear, and go about it that way. And that kind of critical approach to it, I don't know. I thought I think he's a very, very compelling character through 4 episodes. So I don't have too much more on this one. Yeah.
So the trivia does say that the wanting to beam the Chinese finger traps over to the Ferengi ship was a direct reference to the Trouble with Tribbles.
I like it.
Which, Greg, have you at least watched that episode?
I've actually seen pretty good chunk of that one. Yeah.
You need to go watch the whole thing. It's probably the best of all of them.
All right, I will.
And then cry because you see what Klingons used to look like.
I know. I was going to mention that earlier in our discussion about this episode, that Ferengi staying consistent. Like Klingons obviously have changed quite a bit. From early on. But
that's for sure.
Yeah, the first appearance of the Klingons in the original series, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. This is what we're going with?
Where's the forehead stuff?
I do not have much else to add for this one.
Yeah.
I don't have a ton of trivia for this. I think we kind of talked about the fact that most people didn't really like how the Ferengi turned out and thought they were too cartoonish. And so the couple pieces of trivia that I have that I think are interesting is the Ferengi officer Latek, one of the ones on the surface, is played by Armin Shimmerman, who later comes back to play Quark on Deep Space Nine. So I threw that in there just for Abby. But I'm
sure everybody could hear the eye roll.
Yeah, I mean, I think her head about hit the back of the wall behind her.
No. That being said, Quark is one of the ones. I mean, if he's going to own a character, he owns.
Oh my God, he's so good.
The character. I mean, it's an annoying character, but he owns it.
So
takes it all the way.
But according to him, when they were, going through the script and all that, they were told, him and the other actors were told that to play the Ferengi as jumping up and down like crazed gerbils. So I think we got that. Mission accomplished. Let's see here. This is one of the few times in the next gen that a swear word is used, other than hell or damn or that stuff. Did anyone catch it?
Nope.
So Picard says merde at one point. That translates to English as shit.
Totally missed that.
And I
always tells me if you swear a different language, it doesn't count.
Yeah, I mean it probably.
So as kids, you say "scheisse" all the time. Yep. It didn't count. Like we all know what it meant, but it didn't count as a curse.
Yeah, that's it. The rest of the trivia sucks. Everyone hated it. Yada yada yada. Oh, it's the first episode in which Geordi does not remove his visor. So of all the episodes we've seen so far, it's the only one where he doesn't take it off.
And Abby's like, now I only have 5 trivia game questions.
I don't. I have 6 if you want to play. I have 6.
Let's go.
You up for it? Should we give Greg an extra second for every question?
No, that's fine.
Just handicap him a little bit.
All right. What did the Ferengi steal?
Nate.
It's
a transducer of some kind. I can't remember exactly what it was called.
I'll give it to you.
A transmonster.
A transmonster. A T9 energy converter.
Oh, okay.
What historical figures were the Ferengi compared to?
Nate.
Aaron?
Nate?
Uncle Sam?
No.
No. They were told they don't look like Uncle Sam. Basically those dastardly capitalists.
What's the name of them? Come on. They're called something and they say it all the time. They said multiple times. Gregg, last guess? Yankee Traders.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yankee
so
They
funny
have a
part,
Traders.
they have a whole exchange about that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I forgot a piece of trivia in there that was interesting. They make that reference to them, the Uncle Sam thing. In the early drawings of the Ferengi, when they were doing mock-ups, they were going to look like Uncle Sam. So
That sounds terrible.
Uncle-
What are the leaders of the Ferengi called? Like the captain of the ship. What is his
Nate.
title? Got it, Nate?
Yeah, Damon.
That's not Damon. Yep. I did have the question of what toy does Data get confused by, but I think we've kind of
I think we
rendered
all
that
know that
question
one.
Greg!
done.
Greg!
Greg! What is
Chinese
it?
finger trap.
Yay! Good job. What are the Ferengi primary weapons that they use on the planet?
Aaron,
Aaron?
whips.
Electric bolt
Fancy
whips. You
razor
got
whips.
it.
Actually, those are kind
Got
of
it.
cool though.
Those are pretty cool.
All right. Oh, last
Do
but
we,
not least.
do we ever see those weapons again in the whole show?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't think we do.
I don't think we do either, but I don't remember.
All right. And what do the Ferengi think is the most strange about the boarding party when they meet them?
Nate,
Greg,
Nate,
they clothe and arm their women.
they clothe and arm their women.
I had that one.
God help anyone with a clothed and armed woman comes by. She means trouble.
Yeah. So, yeah,
I'll say
4
this.
episodes in. Go ahead.
Sorry. I'll say this. I'm enjoying watching this again. Like by this point in the original series, it was becoming a little bit of a drag already. Where I was like, oh, I've got 2 episodes to watch for next week. And I finished the episode for this week today, and then I kept going. I was like, oh yeah, let's keep going. I mean, they're not stellar. Not all of them are perfect, but they're entertaining and they're enjoyable to keep watching. It's one of those ones you can binge watch it, whereas I couldn't binge watch the original series. Whether that be because I'm the wrong age group for it, or I wasn't the target audience at the time. To this day, I still enjoy binging this series, and I'm pleasantly pleased by that. I was really worried that I wasn't going to like it as much as I recall liking it a couple decades ago. So I'm enjoying myself going through them, and I would watch these again. And then, I wouldn't necessarily watch them tomorrow, the same episodes again, but I'd cycle through the whole series again thus far. Let's hope my attitude stays that way. I fell away real quick on the last last series.
I guess we're gonna find out. We got 7 seasons of this to go through. So
Yep. So, yeah, my last note I wrote was I'm excited for more. I'm still enjoying it, even though I look at some of these episodes and say, not great, or not as great as I'm anticipating some of the episodes will get, and where the series will get. But I also know that from watching many shows, a lot of times a season 1, especially in an episodic show like this, you're dealing with them having to figure out these characters. They're figuring it out as they're going. And if I come back and revisit these episodes at some point, it'll be like, oh wow, I can't believe that's where they started. So I know that going in. And so even then, even when, like with The Naked Now, where I didn't like it nearly as much as The Naked Time from the original series, I still had plenty of things where I said they do it better now. And had The Naked Now been the first episode I saw versus The Naked Time, I probably would have liked The Naked Now better. And seeing those kind of just comparisons and seeing just the way the shows are tighter than the original series was. There's a lot going for it there. It's got a lot of good bones so far, not making a pun on Bones being great in the original series. But yeah, there's a lot of good that I can see in the show. A lot of technological advancement, and the things they can do, and they're getting better at telling the stories. Now, while they're better at telling the stories, some of the stories have sucked. I think that there's a lot of potential here that I'm excited to see.
Hell yeah.
Here, here.
Here, here.
Well, there you go. I knew before I started that there is a divide among Trekkies, Kirk or Picard. Most people about my age grew up with Picard, so they fall into the Picard camp. So I was very surprised to find him so ready to surrender the Enterprise, the flagship, at the first sign of danger. It didn't feel like there was some Kirk-style ploy to trick the villain of the week into some trap, or like the search for Spock where Kirk surrendered, it only to blow it up with the bad guys in it. No, these felt like Picard was simply defeated. He straight up got his ass beat. I was genuinely surprised, but then to see it happen twice in the first 4 episodes, I was floored. As I said, I know there's so much more to come, and none of these characters are developed yet, so I will cut the show some slack in that regard. But as a newbie, particularly to Next Generation, making that observation sure was fun. It felt like it was something none of the others had even considered. They all got defensive. Nate had a bit of a resigned tone like, oh no, I'd never even thought about that, and I've got nothing I can say to this. But I think the kill shot of the discussion was when I pointed out that he surrendered about 8 minutes into the pilot, and after about 4 or 5 seconds of silence, the best defense any of them could muster was, well, he only surrendered half of the Enterprise. Now, I was being deliberately controversial in that claim, and I elicited the exact reaction I wanted. I do realize that if Picard is truly as I portrayed him in that conversation, the series probably wouldn't have lasted as long as it did. We like to see our heroes vulnerable, but not weak. Compared to Kirk, through these 4 episodes we've watched, some of Picard's moves, though, could seem, well, weak. All of this to say, after 4 episodes, Kirk is still the leader in the clubhouse on my scorecard. I do feel like Next Generation has had a slower start than the original series. It's not bad, though Code of Honor was truly quite bad, but I'm happy to know that it gets better. Based on what I knew coming in, Next Gen hasn't surprised me. It has been about what I anticipated, and even with my Picard critiques, and with some bad episodes early, I'm genuinely excited to see where this series goes. All my Trekkie friends, hardcore and casual alike, speak so fondly of Next Gen. I chalk most of my thoughts up to it feeling like a first season of a show, which it is. The writers and actors are still figuring out who these characters are. I fully expect these characters to change and grow as the series and even the season progresses. And I think that's enough for today. If you're watching along with us, next time we will discuss Where No One Has Gone Before, Lonely Among Us, and Justice. As always, I want to thank you for spending your time listening to our conversations about Star Trek. If you enjoy what we're doing, please do us a favor and share the podcast with a friend. Also, leave us a rating and a review on your favorite podcast app. You can find us on X at Baldly Go Podcast and To Baldly Go Podcast on Facebook. You can also find me at aaronemery.net. You can find some of Gregg's work on YouTube and Instagram at The Spilt Beans. Again, that's beans with a Z. For Abby and Nate and Gregg, this is Aaron reminding you to never give up. Never. Unless you're Picard, then sometimes surrender. Kirk would not stand for that shit. He would be like, you want my goddamn ship? You can fuck all the way off.